Howdy! Hello! Hola! Amigos!
Hello.
My name's Tony. Welcome to the Underpaid Gamers Podcast. That's Justin. That's hello. That's
hello.
him.
That's me.
Here at the Underpaid Gamers Podcast, we talk about movies and video games and comics and video games and esports and movies and comics.
Nerd stuff.
Star Wars sometimes.
All the time.
Almost every episode.
I talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, you do. Here today, we're going to talk about all that stuff and more. Welcome. Let me tell you about the Big Ten Network. The Big Ten Conference. The Big Ten colleges.
The Big Ten.
Tell me what you know, and I'll tell you what I know.
Big
Just
Ten
in general.
Football.
Just football? The Big Ten Conference.
I mean, it's like the Midwest, right?
That's right.
It's like Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, Illinois. That's all I know.
The Big Ten Conference, formerly the Western Conference and the Big Nine Conference, is the oldest Division I collegiate athletic conference in the United States.
Wait, hold on. Is this a sports podcast?
The oldest Division I collegiate athletic conference in the United States. The conference competes in NCAA Division I. Its football teams compete in football, bowl, subdivision, things as well.
I feel like my sports friends know all this, but I don't.
You would think so. There are 14 colleges part of the Big Ten Network.
Okay.
Which is weird.
Okay.
I remember
and Big Ten.
I remember when it went from the Big Nine to the Big Ten, and I'm like, that's a cool logo. And now they had to add 4 more people.
Yeah, that's not okay.
So it's called the Big Ten, but there's 14 people.
It's like false advertisement.
Either way, there are some of the largest and most historic rivalries in the Big Ten Network. Purdue and IU.
Oh, that makes sense.
Purdue, Indiana University. Michigan State versus Michigan. Ohio State versus anybody.
Versus everybody else.
Right? So some of the biggest rivalries in sports, in American sports, is in the Big Ten Network.
All right.
Now what does that mean when the Big Ten Network partners with Riot Games to broadcast League of Legends College Tournament Michigan State Spartans versus the Ohio State Buckeyes?
Wait. Did you just say League of Legends?
League of Legends.
In the
video
Big Ten?
game. In the Big Ten.
What? That's crazy.
MSU Spartans versus Ohio State Buckeyes. That might mean something to the sports people.
Yeah.
To us that don't do sports,
I mean,
just know that it's huge.
I've heard the names before.
You've heard the names before. A huge rivalry.
Yeah.
College sports, the Big Ten Network has signed on. So the Big Ten Network is essentially just coverage of these college sports, of football, of basketball, of tennis, I assume, golf, probably, swimming, wrestling, definitely,
Probably, yeah.
maybe lacrosse.
Who knows? Probably. That's getting huge
All of
now.
this. The Big Ten Network essentially is just for that. They just signed on with Riot Games to broadcast this college tournament, which is going to be at PAX East 2016.
So there is
This weekend, April 22nd.
So there's an official League of Legends team for these universities.
13 out of the 14 colleges have a League of Legends team.
Do they get scholarships too?
I don't know. They at least have a club. 13 of the 14.
Wow.
That's almost 100%.
That is almost 100%.
That's not nearly
That's
as big
over
as
90%.
That's not nearly as big as football or baseball,
Right.
or basketball or anything like that.
True.
But this is esports. So they're competing. This is going to be on the Big Ten Network. This is going to be broadcasted on Twitch.tv. This is going to be broadcasted on all the other things.
Wow.
So not only is it going to be the people that like the video game that can watch it, it's going to be the people that just log on to the Big Ten Network. They see League of Legends. They see, first of all, they'll probably say, why the F are there video games on my sports network?
I know, probably.
And then the people that are maybe more level-headed will sit down and watch it. And they'll be like, this is kind of interesting.
Well, I can see how there's actually strategy to a video game.
I can see how people would enjoy this.
No. That's crazy.
This brings me to a lot of questions.
Okay.
Anyway, let's take a moment and just think of how awesome that is. How awesome it is that ESPN has an esports article page, that ESPN shows Dota 2 tournaments in League of Legends. How awesome it is that the Big Ten Network just signed on with Riot Games to show League of Legends. How awesome it is that 2 of the biggest colleges in the Big Ten Conference, the oldest collegiate Division I college conference in the United States, is playing a League of Legends tournament.
The progress that's been made in esports
It's incredible.
is amazing.
It's awesome. But this brings me to a few questions. Normally, specifically, I'm going to compare this to the NFL Network.
Okay.
Where else can you watch NFL games other than the NFL Network? Other than NFL affiliated things. Can you watch the NFL Network online on a website that's not the NFL officially?
Not legally.
Not legally.
From what I know.
So what does this mean for esports and streaming rights? Does Twitch still get the streaming rights for League of Legends, for Counter-Strike, for Dota 2? Or are they striking up a deal with the Big Ten Network? Or is it going to, once it gets large enough, is the Big Ten Network going to say, my college teams will only play on the Big Ten Network and ESPN, and you cannot stream it on Twitch? What does that mean for the little guys in this situation? Twitch, which is not so little.
No, definitely not little.
But comparatively to the Big Ten Network?
Right. The amount of money that's being thrown around. I don't know. That's a good question. I think as of right now, there's no immediate danger. I think any exposure of esports into mainstream media is only going to be a net gain. I don't think it's going to take away from anything. Now, maybe the Big Ten has their own tournaments between each other only on the Big Ten Network, but that could also not. It doesn't necessarily mean that those teams wouldn't play on Twitch in other avenues, right? If there's like a tournament and Ohio State sends its team to some random huge tournament, like they'd still be streamed. I feel like this is really more of an issue between the tournaments, the hosters, the people who are putting on the tournaments, and the networks, whichever network they choose. And I'm going to consider Twitch a network. YouTube has its own streaming stuff now. YouTube Gaming, I know. So all those things, I would say it's like on an individual basis. But I think as this gets bigger, it will trend towards those bigger corporations, those bigger organizations with more money in their pocket. So it could be the first of many.
Who owns
dangerous
ESPN?
steps. Disney.
Disney Channel.
Who owns Star Wars?
Disney
Channel. Who owns Disney?
There's your Star Wars reference.
I know. Every episode.
You get one. So ESPN, arguably one of the biggest sports networks on television.
Yeah.
What if they picked up? I mean, they've done some esports stuff. Disney could buy out. I mean, they're not going to buy out Twitch because Amazon just did that.
Right.
But for like $4 billion, something like that.
That's crazy.
But Disney could still buy that out.
If they really wanted to.
That's like pocket change.
Yeah.
Right?
For Disney.
But
that's
what
like
happens?
The profit they made on the last Star Wars movie.
Right. There's almost a monopoly right now, specifically for Twitch, for all gaming needs. There's a League of Legends website that just does streaming and just does schedules for tournaments and things like that. So it's not necessarily a huge monopoly. But when you think of video game, you want to watch video games, where do you go?
Twitch.
YouTube or Twitch. YouTube is trying to make a dent in the streaming and be like, come look at us and look at how good we have on streaming. And I haven't watched a stream on YouTube. I tried to watch one, but the guy didn't sign on when he was supposed to, so I jumped out. But if we go to Twitch right now, which we should, because one, it's one of our favorite things to do.
Yes.
And two, we'll just look at the numbers. I'm going to Twitch right now.
For our favorite
Before looking, how many people do you think are watching League of Legends right now? Normally 1 or 2 on the highest viewers.
I'm going to guess 40,000.
Really?
Yeah.
That's low. League of Legends almost always has like over 121,000. Right now it has 128,000.
Dang.
That's just on Twitch right now in the kind of late in the afternoon. Counter-Strike number 2 has 73,000. And then Black Ops 3 has 58,000. Those are the top 3. Hearthstone honorable mention is 56,000.
Yeah.
So that's over 300,000 people just watching video games on Twitch right now.
Nice.
How many people do you think are watching like ESPN right now?
Probably millions.
Not counting the like dental offices that just have it on.
Probably millions though. It's like
you still think millions?
It's
I think
the evening. This is like Sports Center time.
That's fair.
Yeah. But
how many sports are on ESPN?
Right.
Like if you broke that down into categories of football, baseball, soccer, and another sport that I can't think of right now.
Yeah.
Do you think that would equal like 128,000 viewers watching?
I'm not sure. I mean, you could compare this to maybe like in basketball, there's the small market teams. Mm-hmm. How much viewership do you think there is for one of their games on any given regular season game that doesn't really matter that much?
Right.
Like they're not going to get a whole lot of viewership. So it would to me, it almost seems like League of Legends by itself with 158,000, like that sounds reasonable for like a small city watching their own team play basketball.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong. I could be way off. I don't have any numbers to back this up. This is purely based off my assumptions.
And a little hopefulness.
And a lot of hopefulness. But that's it's amazing. I mean, collectively, it seems like a lot. Now, for our favorite section of the day, segment.
Destiny's at number 13.
Wow.
With 7.5 thousand viewers.
There you go.
Which is pretty decent.
That's decent. I mean, it's been out
don't
forever.
compare it to League of Legends, but
wow,
you should never compare anything to League of Legends. Dota 2 has 24,000 viewers right now. Essentially what I'm saying is there's a lot of people with demand that would watch this. And that doesn't count the people that are playing.
Yeah.
I saw a fact, and I didn't write it down, but like 23 million people sign on to League of Legends like a day to play.
Dang. That's
a lot.
That is so many people.
To go along with this, MLG Columbus breaks viewing records for the Csgo tournament that just happened recently with 1.6 million views total over the weekend.
Dang.
Which is a lot. It breaks records not only for CSGO, but for all like streamed video games. Like 1.6 million views is a lot.
That is.
And that's not all at one time, obviously. That's over the whole weekend accumulated. But still, that's a lot. However, I still think that esports in general, viewing-wise, is a hard sell in the North American region. And I bring that up because of the top esports. League of Legends. Dota 2. You can even put StarCraft in there. CSGO, definitely.
Yeah. All
of those teams, the best teams, are from Europe and Asia. So obviously there's a time gap, a time line gap. Is that what, time zone? A time zone gap.
Or
there's
hemisphere
also
gap.
A hemisphere gap. There's also like one of the reasons I think with Big Ten Network signing on with Riot Games is a super good thing. I think it's going to increase viewership by a lot. The reason I think that is because it could be argued that college sports, specifically like college basketball, is more popular to a certain amount of people than like professional basketball, professional football. Maybe not football because football is like number one and everything.
In the U.S.
But people take ownership in their college, even if they're not playing, in their college, playing against another college. That's why I said the Big Ten Network has some of the biggest rivalries of all time. Because people have ownership. People went to that school. They put money into that school.
Right.
They went there. They learned there.
And some of it's family traditions.
Some of it's family traditions that goes on for generations.
Yeah.
That's different from like, I like the Cubs because I live in Chicago, or I like the Blackhawks because I live in Chicago, or I like the Golden State Warriors because I live on the West Coast, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have that investment in this professional teams because, I mean, not everyone likes that specific sport, that specific college team because they went there. But there is still like a history behind it. I know one of our friends is insanely obsessed with one of the Michigan football teams. I can't tell you which one because if I say one and he yells at me because it's always the other one. So one of the Michigan teams, and I'm like, you didn't even go there. Why do you like it? He's like, well, I'm from Michigan, so I love that team because I'm from Michigan.
Yep.
So there's an ownership part to it, and there are like you like a specific professional basketball team
due to my location,
due to your location, but you'd also, if you moved across the country, you'd still like that team.
Oh, for sure.
But there's some ownership there, but not nearly as much as like if you went to a Big Ten conference and you went to a team and you had invested and you knew the people that were playing.
Right.
So it's argued that I assume the League of Legends players at these colleges are not the most popular people.
Probably not. They're probably in the dorm room.
They're probably in the dorm room most of the time. However, there's still ownership. No matter what sport, there's still going to be Michigan State fans. There's still going to be Ohio State fans.
Right.
So I think that will boost North American ratings and North American viewership. However, I still think it's an international market that we're trying to break into. And the North American CSGO teams are like ranked like the top 6 of like, so there's like 5 teams above them. So they're not the best. They're not going to win any tournaments for the most part. Like maybe there's an upset. Dota 2, League of Legends, there's not United States teams that are that good.
Yeah.
There are some region-locked esports that I think United States are the best at. Specifically, Halo, Hearthstone, and Call of Duty. The best team in Call of Duty is Optic Gaming, debatably, and they're North American. The best teams in all of Call of Duty are almost North American. There's some European teams.
Yeah. I wonder how much that has to do with just the trends in taste for video game preference.
See, that's what I was thinking.
Because that seems like a very American thing. It's like the shooter games, right?
Well,
like Halo, huge.
Halo was huge.
Immensely huge when it first dropped, and Halo 2 and 3, like, just crazy amounts of loyalty to the Bungie during the time. And then even Call of Duty, like, every year. Then Destiny came along, and...
No competition there. But That's a good argument, but CSGO is still the most popular shooter, and that's mostly European-based. But there's also Hearthstone, which isn't necessarily team-based, it's more one-on-one. It's specifically one-on-one. But most of those top players are from North America.
Yeah.
And then Smash, my favorite competitive game, there's Armada and Leffen, who are arguably top... Armada's the best player in the world. Leffen's arguably top 6. Top 4, probably. But everybody else is from North America.
Yeah.
For the most part. On the Smash rankings.
Yeah.
So there's some games that are 100% people from North America are going to watch. And regardless, people are going to watch these games no matter what time it is. There was specifically a Call of Duty tournament in Australia last weekend.
Yeah.
And like they would stream at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm like, I'm not going to watch that. I can't watch that.
Right.
But if there's like replays on the Big Ten Network or something like that, like I would watch that.
Yeah. I mean, why can't there be analysis?
If I invest in my team.
Right. I mean, as it grows, I don't see how it couldn't be any different. I don't think esports is anywhere close to where major league sports are in terms of NBA, MLB. Like, Sports Center is dedicated to all the professional sports and all the college sports, which gives them plenty of things to talk about all day.
All day.
But I could see how a channel might have like an hour every day dedicated to esports.
Yeah.
Because there might be enough news to fill an hour.
Or just a little blurb.
Or maybe just like 15 minutes every day.
But
10 minutes every day.
There's going to be the Activision. Activision is making a TV network just specifically for esports. We talked about that a little while ago. Don't remember what it's going to be called. But also, to go along with this, esports is exploding right now in a good way. Because as we talked last episode, in the Rio de Janeiro Olympics in 2016, I guess, and this year, alongside with that, there's going to be an esports tournament. Not part of the Olympics, but alongside the same weekend.
Right.
One of the same weekends.
And some people are lobbying for it to be part of the Olympics.
It's going to be huge. And people are saying by 2020, it's going to be part of the Olympics. I don't have it, maybe not part of the Olympics, but it's going to be a bigger factor. It's going to be bigger than just a sideshow next to it. The British government was on board with it. There was another one. For some reason, I read it down in my notes, so you have to take my word for it. But it's happening. It's just so interesting to see because I love watching people do things that I love to do, except 100 times better than me.
Right.
Right?
Well, then you can learn from him.
That's why people watch Bob Ross videos.
Yeah.
Because he paints better than anybody.
He's so good at painting.
And he has that afro.
Right. Well, I think the future of esports is just incredibly bright. As of right now, I love how Twitch became a thing. When I first heard of Twitch, I was like, that's never going to work.
Justin TV.
I just thought...
That's what it originally was.
Justin
TV.
Really?
Like your name.
Yeah.
.tv.
I like it.
So, from what I remember, Justin TV was a way for people to stream, and it wasn't just like video games, it was all this other stuff.
Right.
And then video games obviously blew up.
Right.
So people are like, I want to watch video games. Twitch became a part of that. Or like maybe Twitch was officially the name. Obviously it branched off, and then as we just discussed, was bought by Amazon for like $4 billion.
It's a crazy amount.
It's insane. Just on the, as we just showed, just on the top 4 or 5 viewership channels, there's over 300,000 people watching right now. Just think of all the other games. How many do you think there's over 500,000 people watching just in general, just on a random day, just on Twitch?
Probably.
I would say yes.
Probably. I would say so. I mean, on the weekend, during peak hours, it's going to be...
It's got to be way more than that.
Way more than that.
I would say...
And I know people who watch Twitch all day.
Yeah.
Like, they may not actively watch all day, but they'll have it up, and they'll have something in the background streaming. I mean, I know plenty of people who stream on a regular basis, too. That's one of the great things about Twitch and streaming as a medium to promote video gaming in general, is that it's so easy.
Yeah.
Anybody can download the program and start streaming.
With PS4, it's like automatically in there.
Right.
It's
PS4, automatic. PC, you download a free app.
Yeah.
It's easy. And now this isn't Twitch, but Steam, which is the iTunes of PC games, if you're not a PC gamer, has its own
because we're appealing
streaming.
to both sports fans and esports fans this episode.
That's right. Steam has its own streaming service.
I got you, Jocks.
Did you?
I see you.
Yeah, there's some guys in there.
I see
They're
you.
probably like, yeah, I know who LeBron James is.
That's right.
Yeah, I know who Paul George is.
But do you know who Mango is? Armada.
Do you know who Leffen is?
Leffen.
Hungrybox.
Hungrybox.
PPMD.
That's right.
Yeah. You heard those names here. We put them on equal footing with LeBron James.
Steph Curry.
I don't know. Steph Curry's pretty good. Maybe Armada.
Have you seen Mango?
Dude, Mango is pretty sick.
Mango's almost the equivalent of Steph Curry. Maybe not. Because Steph Curry's always on.
Steph Curry is on.
Mango's not always on.
True.
Armada's always on. Okay, Steph Curry is equal to Armada. I'll take it.
All right.
Agreed. I have some more things. Just as an example of how esports is getting even bigger. Halo was at the Winter X Games just recently.
That's awesome.
After the Halo World Tournament, which had like a $2.5 million prize pool.
Yeah.
Which is a medium-sized prize pool for esports tournaments. Call of Duty and Counter-Strike have also been in X Games. Call of Duty has been in the most with 2 X Games in the past. I would argue that X Games specifically is bigger than Winter X Games.
Yeah.
Although, I was going to say I like Winter X Games more, but I do like watching skate competitions.
Yeah.
Vert and Street. So I'd probably say I like X Games the most, above Winter X Games. However, they did invite Halo to play at the Winter X Games, which is cool. Counter-Strike has played before. Call of Duty has played twice before, which I like. There was a lot of backlash. Obviously, whenever there's video games on a sports channel, there's backlash. There's always backlash.
Especially old people. They're like, "What are you putting in all their video games in my sports channel?"
That's right.
That's what they say.
They're not that old.
Sometimes they are.
Sometimes they're like 30. But there was specifically a snowboarder, a female snowboarder that was at the Winter X Games, and she got a bronze medal in something.
Yeah.
And she was watching the Halo Championship, and she saw that these gamers got gold medals. And she was ticked. She went off on Twitter. She's like, I can't believe these couch-playing video game guys got a gold medal, and I got a bronze for doing slopestyle. I think you should only get gold medals. I think you should only get medals at the X Games for putting your blood and sweat and physical activity into a video game, or into the sport to get a medal. I'm like, that's a good argument, but she kept going. And then there was one guy that's like, I got a gold medal I got 2 gold medals from X Games, but then I hurt myself, so now I only play video games, and I think it's awesome that they put video games on X Games.
Yeah.
Normally there's a lot of viewership. Specifically, the reason that X Games puts Halo and Call of Duty and Counter-Strike into their tournament is because X Games doesn't normally get very much viewership in general, just on TV. But once they added these video games, their viewership exponentially rose.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is not something you would expect, but it's true.
I mean, anytime... I just feel like there's just a hunger for validation or like just primetime TV.
Right.
There used to be. I always think of this when I think of video gaming. And I think this might be part of the reason why there's no current, mainstream TV channel on television for gaming is because G4 failed. If you remember that TV, do you remember that TV show? They had like X Play, and they had like
I don't think I ever watched it.
It was back in like I would say the early 2000s. There was this TV show called X Play, and the channel was G4, and it was all about video games. And it ran for like, I want to say it ran for like 1.5 years or 2 years or something. I could be totally wrong with this. This is just based off memory. And it's gone now. It doesn't exist. And it failed. It flopped.
Game over?
Yeah, game over, man. Game over, man! So...
do you know who that was backed by? Or was it just kind of like an independent thing?
I think it was an independent thing. And I remember I used to watch, they always had like huge end of the year, game character awards and all these crazy cool award shows. Essentially what we do, except for with a TV. Like we'd have a desk.
And professionally.
And probably a lot more money. And they got paid for what they did, which would all be nice.
We'd have to change our name.
Maybe Overpaid Gamers.
Oh, now there's an idea.
There it is. That'd be nice. I'd like to be overpaid.
Nah.
How about you?
I like where we are.
All right.
Anyway.
Either way, tangent. I wonder if that has caused a little bit of pumping the brakes of these big corporations. Like, oh, G4 is a prime example. You can't succeed in video game TV stream TV channels.
See, I don't think so.
And I don't think they talk like that, but that's just how
I assume they talk specifically like that.
Oh, wow.
But I think, because ESPN has, even though there's been incredible backlash against them for putting on video games on their network by their consumers and by even their employees, they have pushed more and more into the esports world. So they've made a decision, they're diving headfirst into it. Well, maybe not diving headfirst. Essentially, they tip their toe in the water. Yeah. They found out it's a decent temperature. They got bit by a little minnow. Yeah. Therefore, their employees and their consumers, they took a step back and they dove headfirst into it.
Yeah.
So they have esports all over the place. They have esports pages. They have all this other stuff. I read articles on SB Nation which is specifically about athletic sports.
Yeah.
There was like 5 or 6 articles about esports, which is what made me think about all this.
Yeah.
And I read those, and I'm like, this is awesome. I was on literally ESPN all day. I've never once said that before in my life. I was on ESPN
So weird.
website all day today, just reading article after article about esports. There was Call of Duty articles, League of Legends, Dota 2, Smite, CSGO, and even a Smash article about Pew Pew U and SFAT. And how Smash Summit is coming this weekend. Smash Summit number 2 starts April 22nd and goes until April 24th. Smash Summit was one of the best Smash tournaments I've ever seen. Earlier this year or late last year. So the fact that, 1, I was reminded that it's happening like in 2 days.
Right.
And 2, just that it was on ESPN, I'm like, heck yeah, I'm going to watch this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I've said before on the podcast, like, I read the news pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And I think BBC News and Fox News both have their own video game page.
Mm-hmm.
CNN does not. I checked.
Lame.
I know. I was like, gosh dang it, CNN. But out of those, I mean, those are like the 3 major news networks that I know of. I mean, MSNBC, I haven't checked them out, or any of those other ones. But, seriously? Like, those giant news corporations have a page for esports?
Esports?
For video games? For tech? I mean, it's under the tech headline, but then it has like a subcategory, and it's like video games.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy. And they talk about all these different controversies, and they talk about attendance at League of Legends tournaments.
Yeah,
and they
and how
talk
it's
about
huge.
Yeah.
How everyone and their mother goes
they
there.
had a picture, as like the headline of the article I'm thinking of, they had a picture of the arena that was full of people for the League of Legends. League of Legends tournament had like specialty lights and looked all fancy. It looked like a concert, you know?
Yeah, it's essentially a concert, except the stage is smaller, so they fit more people in there.
Right. And then they just project everything on the big screens, and everybody goes absolutely crazy when their team wins. People go crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's Smash. Like, people just get so
hyped, dude. It's so legit.
Oh, no. People start standing up, jumping around.
Like I said,
it's a good atmosphere.
Either Apex or EVO, the main championship for Smash, their championship Sunday is going to be at Mandalay Bay Sports Arena. Like, and that's huge. That fits so many people. I think now, more than ever, the stage has been set for esports to become more mainstream, to be on the networks, all this stuff. I just don't know if a monopoly is best for this or if competition is best for this. And how is the competition going to work? Because what happens if this Activision network shows up and they do a really good job and ESPN's like, I want that? They're going to alienate their audience a little bit.
Potentially. Unless they had a separate channel. I feel like if they
already have like 17 different channels.
I know, but why not add one for esports, the rest are for sports?
I mean, it should. It'd be awesome.
I mean, if they did, I think that might alleviate some stuff, like if they had one dedicated to it. Because I think part of the reason is there's, like, the majority of the viewers on ESPN, I'm guessing, are not into gaming.
Yeah. Well,
I'd say probably 3/4 aren't into gaming.
Yes.
A quarter probably enjoys video games to some extent with their family or maybe by themselves. So they might be open to it.
25% is that grandma that bought the Wii for Wii bowling.
Yeah, and she loves it.
She loves it. Dude, my mom beat me at Wii bowling once, and
That's embarrassing.
I feel super bad. It was like the first time I ever played it.
Anytime.
Obviously, the first time she's ever touched a video game console, and she's just like, whoop, strike, whoop, turkey. I'm like, come on, Mom.
I always hated it growing up. I remember when the first Halo came out. Anytime an adult was like, hey, can I play? I always tried to get him to be on the other team. Or her.
Yeah.
Because they were never good.
So you can kill them?
So I could destroy them.
Oh, yeah.
And it was such a good feeling. Especially when you're young and have no power over anything.
Right.
They enter your domain, which is...
Welcome to my dungeon.
Yes, exactly. Welcome to the Thunderdome.
My dad played one song of Guitar Hero once.
Nice.
So that's a fond memory.
I remember we had the Dance Dance
Christmas
Revolution.
Day.
Do you remember Dance Dance Revolution?
I never played it, but yes,
okay.
I know what it is.
The little pad.
Yes.
I got my parents to do that.
Nice.
It was awesome.
Nice.
Me and my brother were playing like hard mode, like going
yeah.
ham at it, and then we put on easy for them, and which one do I step on? And they just like click, click, click. It was so funny.
My dad used to play Jet Moto with us on the PS1. I forgot about that.
They don't sound like that, by the way. I keep doing impressions, and all of them are.
They're all spot on.
They're
100%.
Awesome impressions.
They're actually voice
Not
clips
accurate.
that we have put into the podcast.
Yeah, we actually follow people around and just like record their voices, and then we put it on the podcast. It's not creepy.
Anyway, so many things are happening in esports right now. I sort of scanned this article, so I'll touch on it a little bit. But the CSGO players and the managers are thinking about forming a union.
Dang.
Essentially because there's so many tournaments happening all the time. And it's like you have to compete in these tournaments to make enough money to make this a lifestyle.
Right.
And And they talk about, the one guy was talking about how he practices by himself for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then he practices with his team for another 6 hours a day.
Wow. Yeah, that's 10
So
hours.
10 hours a day, like, at least. And then you have tournaments, like, every weekend. You go from here to here to here.
So that's like 80 hours, 90 hours.
That's right.
That's a lot.
So they're thinking about making a union, and I'm just like, one part of me is like, that seems unnecessary. Just don't go to these tournaments.
Right.
Like, you don't need to make a union to say, I don't want to go to these tournaments. But I essentially, they're just looking for, like, a solid paycheck, I would assume.
Well, I mean, I understand in terms of getting everybody on board to protect, I mean, their interest collectively. Because individually, like, yeah, one team could not go to a tournament, but that's lost revenue, that's lost everything to their competition. And so to compete, you have to do everything, really. Yeah. So I can understand unionizing. I get it. And because there's not, like, an NBA, there's not, like, an NFL that they can appeal to.
Yeah.
There's no authority that's over all of it, right? There's all individual tournaments. So because of that, I could see a need for there to be some sort of overarching organization that can bargain on behalf of a team. Because, I mean, it's not like they don't enjoy it. I mean, they're doing it for a reason, probably because they're good and they enjoy it. But I could see how at that level that they could get burnt out, right? Like, where's their free time? Where's their personal time? Like even professional athletes have downtime. They should have it too.
Yeah, you think so? Like, there's off seasons and stuff, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think you could compare. It would be hard to compare the work styles and the work ethic of professional sports teams to esports teams.
Very different.
I think the best you could do is compare, like, time spent practicing, training, and competing.
Right. I mean, the time, yeah. Obviously, there's a whole different host of issues when it comes to physical performance and then video game performance.
Right.
Right. I mean, there's conditioning, building strength, all of that. I mean, there's a lot more into it to that. But gaming, on the other hand, you have to. It's like more of a mental preparation, I would say.
Yeah. Those are my thoughts on esports so far. I think the stage is set for esports to expand. I think it's going to get more and more popular. The Csgo MLG Columbus tournament having over 1.6 million total views is incredible. There was a Smash tournament. Genesis 3, I believe, had over 100K consecutive viewers on the grand finals on the top 8, and that's crazy. That's a game that's 15 years old and is not CSGO. Like, CSGO is 17 years old, so it's old. But CSGO is also team-based. Smash is just one-on-one for the most part. I mean, there's teams, but it's generally a one-on-one driven. So that's my thought. That's where I think it's going to get bigger. I'm very happy to see the Big Ten Network with Riot Games. I think it would be really cool to see collegiate players, because they're not going to play on the same level as, like, pro players.
Probably
right?
not.
So there's going to be
so.
There's possible there's going to be two different leagues. There's going to be a collegiate level and there's going to be a professional level.
Well, it just seems like the beginning of that, you know, the different, like, the feeding into, I mean, it could end up being the same thing for sports where it's like the college level feeds into the professional level.
Right.
Not necessarily for everything, you know, sometimes people go straight in from high school. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people come in off the street, right? But for the majority, it ends up being like a collegiate thing.
Yeah.
So,
however,
I mean, it may not be that, it may not turn into that, but it seems like it could be. This could be the first step of that becoming the norm.
However, an argument against that is that professional sports players play until they're like, if you're 40 years old, you're old, and you should retire.
Right.
Football, basketball, all that stuff. 40 is too old. 40 is like the oldest you can be to still play, and like 39 is like the oldest you can be to still play. Once you hit 40, you're like done.
Yeah.
Esports, it's like 21 is like the retirement age.
That's crazy.
So it's so weird because all these players are so young, so it's hard to see, like, obviously a collegiate level and like a professional level, there's going to be so much difference because the professional level, they've been playing since they're like 13.
Right.
And a collegiate level, they've also probably been playing since they're 13, but they've also done homework and made it into college. So maybe it'll be interesting to see scholarships based on esports.
Yeah.
So for like a healthy lifestyle living. So like you play this, you become professional afterwards. Maybe the average age of the esport player is going to increase now because the Big Ten Network signed on with Riot Games for a collegiate tournament.
I mean, it could, and not all games are based in like response time, right? I'm thinking like Call of Duty. Obviously, you gotta react quickly, make split-second decisions, which is why I'm guessing that older people don't do as well in that is because their reaction time slows down. But there, I mean, like I think Hearthstone. Like Hearthstone is not about response time.
Reaction time. It's about thinking things out.
Right. It's not like the difference between 5 milliseconds and 10 milliseconds isn't going to kill you.
Yeah.
You've got time to think. So I mean, I think there are going to be avenues for older players of some games to play.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but I could see in Call of Duty in those quick
movements,
shoot 'em up games, as my parents used to say.
Anyways, that was my thought.
Yeah.
These are my thoughts. I think that was a good conversation.
That was a good conversation. I'm excited.
What have you been up to?
Well,
Playing some games?
Man, yeah, my friend...
Hold
Rich,
on, before we get into that.
Oh.
I cut you off.
You did.
I cut you off! The Mirror's Edge Catalyst beta begins on April 22nd.
Ooh.
And I signed up for that, I believe.
I've been watching some pretty cool videos they've been releasing.
You ever played Mirror's Edge, the first one?
I have not. I understand it's like a parkour game.
It's like a first-person parkour game, and like one trigger controls one leg, one trigger controls the other leg. You run automatically, but like sliding and like jumping and like kicking and stuff, I believe you have to do with your own like inputs. But it's still fun. Like it's still fun. It is fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun to play. When I played it at a friend's house, and I would go over to his house and I'd play it. So I didn't really have the comfortability of playing it in my own house.
Yeah.
And like getting guys like he had it on Xbox. I always played PlayStation, so I had to adjust the controller and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun to play. I'm supposed to have access to the beta. I think they sent out an email, but that was like 2 months ago, so I have no idea where it went. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But anyway, what have you been playing?
Well, good question. I bought some new games for very cheap. There's a beautiful thing called Humble Bundle.
Ooh.
And if you've not learned about that, you should check it out. It's like a charity-driven website where essentially companies will allow Humble Bundle to sell their games for a certain amount of time at a discounted price based off donations.
Yeah.
And different levels of donation based off averages give you big heaping piles of video games.
Ooh, heaping.
Yeah, so I paid $6 and I got, I think, 8 games.
Wow.
For $6.
Good games?
I got Tropico 5.
That's an answer to my question.
Which is right now on PS4. I mean, I had it on PS4 before, and I spent $30 on it.
Mm-hmm.
Bought that like a month ago, so I should have waited, but it is what it is. A couple other games. I got early access to a game that's out on Steam right now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that was like a major title. A couple strategy games that you probably never heard of before.
Probably. Doesn't mean they haven't heard of it
before. If I spent $12, I would.
How hipster are you to think that all of our listeners have never heard of your strategy game?
True. This is a Gettysburg game. It's like a sim game. The game called Grav. It's early access. It's like it essentially sounds a lot like No Man's Sky, but like a newer version.
But good.
Or like an older. It's more like an older version of it.
I'm against No Man's Sky.
I know you are. We've talked about this.
Maybe not against. I am skeptical.
You are very skeptical.
Skeptical of No Man's Sky.
So I've been playing Tropico, which if you're a fan of the series, it's essentially SimCity, except for instead of being just like straight up a like a city simulator.
You're on an island.
It's
a tropical island.
You're a tropical island.
Oh wow!
And
I'm making that up.
It has some historical context to it. You are a dictator, essentially Fidel Castro. But anybody, I mean, you get to play however you want. It's not like you have to be Fidel.
You can name yourself whatever you want.
You can.
Vladimir Putin.
You can actually. Essentially, you're this island, and on top of the normal SimCity stuff that you have to deal with, which is not as in depth as SimCity, you don't have to do like sewer lines and all that crap, or power lines and things. You have to do it. You do have to plan out your roads and like services and things. You also have to deal with foreign powers like the U.S. and it goes through time. So the first thing that happens is you get independence after World War One.
Oh.
And then you vie for influence between the Axis and the Allies, and they send you bonuses and gifts, and they ask for trade deals all throughout World War II. Then when that ends, the Cold War starts, and then it becomes Soviet versus U.S. But also you can make nukes yourself, and then that gives you leverage against the other powers.
Hey.
And so you have all these different things you can do. Then it goes into modern times, which is new, because before it didn't. At least Tropico 4 didn't. So I'm excited to see what modern times is like.
Make more nukes?
Probably. It's probably like satellites and then Probably
nuclear
like terrorism
satellites.
and cyber terrorism, probably.
That Rod satellite from Call of Duty Ghosts.
Yeah, that was like the best part of the whole game.
The opening sequence.
So the movies in that game were sick.
I don't remember.
I mean, Call of Duty games, I always like the storyline.
Yeah.
Like the world that they created, usually. It's always intriguing.
Yeah.
It's just never enough.
Never enough.
It's never enough, because it's always short, and then there's just like not enough character development because the games are so short.
Yeah.
Because they're worried about multiplayer, which I understand. But, either way, playing Tropico, super fun. I played it, I probably put 10 hours on it since I bought it, which was last week.
Nice.
Also, finally got past the part I was stuck in Uncharted 3.
You have to remind me where you're stuck.
I was stuck. There was a bunch of shipyard.
Yeah.
I jumped down, and there were like a bunch of boats and a bunch of machine guns.
Yeah.
And armored dudes with shotguns.
Yeah.
And it was a big old mess.
Yeah.
And I died like 20 times. And I quit once.
This is after the cruise ship?
I just got on the cruise ship. This is how I got on the cruise ship.
This is awful.
So
I want to talk about the cruise ship.
I know you do. I know Sully's on there. At least that's what Drake thinks.
I have no recollection.
I'm excited. I mean, I've climbed up a little bit. I'm probably like 10 minutes into the cruise ship.
If I remember correctly, the cruise ship was kind of a long sequence.
Yeah.
Definitely a sequence. I've only played Uncharted 3 once. I don't have access to it now because my old roommate stole my copy on accident.
Oh my gosh.
On accident.
On accident?
Yeah. I had two roommates. One of them had a PS3. The roommate that didn't own the PS3 borrowed my Uncharted 3 to play on the PS3. The roommate that owned the PS3 then took the PS3 to his brother's house with the Uncharted 3 disc in the game console. And then I asked him back for it. I just never got it back.
Yep. Lost
to the sands of time. That's alright.
Lost out there in the middle
Uncharted
of
4
nowhere.
is coming out soon. I'll probably do a Let's Play of that.
I mean,
I'm doing on Ratchet and Clank on our YouTube channel.
How is that going?
Well, it's a very interesting situation.
Yeah.
Where it's very nice weather we're having, so we have the windows
very
open.
Nice.
But when the windows are open, there's not enough cool air in my area, and my computer's kind of close to my PS4, so they both get really hot.
Yeah.
So, especially when I'm recording, it makes my computer even more hot.
Uh-oh.
So I have not been able to record the past 2 days. I have finally convinced Emily that I need to have the air conditioning on so I can record this, and we'll turn it off when I'm done. So I record like 2 episodes a day, and then I upload them daily.
Nice.
Up to our YouTube channel. So as soon as we're done here, as soon as we get our gas station burritos that we have agreed to go get, I'm going to record some more, and I'm really enjoying Ratchet and Clank. It's literally so much fun. They have added new levels that I don't remember.
Yeah.
There's specifically, I'm going to let you play it. I'm going to make you play it.
Okay.
Specifically, there's a jetpack level where it's like, essentially all the levels, kind of like a train track level, where you can go a specific way, and you have to go that specific way to complete the mission. But the level is just on the jetpack level. It's very open worldish level, and you get this jetpack, and it's not just like, it's not like in Call of Duty or any other jetpack games where you can use it and like go one direction. It's more of like a hover jetpack. So you can hover and you go up and you go down. It uses fuel, and you have to refuel at certain stations, but you can use it to fight people to get elevation on them, to do all this. And there's just like a huge process that you have to go around and collect a certain amount of things. And there's giant gaps between the islands that you need to go onto, and you need to use your jetpack to get that far.
Yeah.
And not every island has like a refueling station, so you kind of have to base where you're going to go based on if you can see a refueling station or not. There's multiple times where I ran out of ammo, so I had to like wrench people to death. It was a lot of fun. It was a level that was not in the original game. Had so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
That video literally just went up today.
Nice.
So I'm excited to see what else comes along. I think I'm almost certainly more than halfway through the game.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it a lot. I played, along with that, at first I played Life is Strange. Then I played Ratchet and Clank. Took a break from Life is Strange, played Ratchet and Clank. Because I couldn't record because it was too hot in my little nook here, I went back to play Life is Strange. So I have one episode left of Life is Strange to play through, which is finally good. Life is Strange is a fun game.
Yeah.
It's a really fun concept. It just got to the point where like there's supposed to be things happening in quick succession in the game, but it still gave you option to like explore the level and like look at certain things and like experience certain things, and like these things don't need to happen. Like there should be something more in quick succession. Specifically, there's like a party you can go to, and there's all these dialogue options. You can talk to people, and like you're going to a party to make sure that somebody doesn't get hurt or to save someone from doing something else. But halfway through, you can like talk to all these people, and be like, what are you up to? I'm so sorry about what happened earlier. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you're on a mission right now. Stop talking to these people. So my passion for that game is slightly dwindling.
Oh, no.
So I'll play the last episode and get it done with, but I don't think I'm going to play it again. Wow. Unless there's a way to like speed up the playthrough. Because every once in a while, essentially the game is based on like a rewind power. So you talk to somebody, you make a decision, you don't like the outcome of that decision, you can rewind and then make another decision. And then once you...
Like what happens, you just move forward?
Yeah, essentially. Or once you get to a point that you're like comfortable with what happens, you move forward. However, if you have a dialogue option, rewind, have the same dialogue option again, you can press R1 to skip through that dialogue option, so you don't have to read it all, you don't have to listen to it all. But that's only on the second time when you read that. So even on the first time, you can't go through and skip those things, which makes the game a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I'll give a more in-depth review of it once I finish this last chapter.
Yeah.
And tell people if I would prefer them to play it or not. Ratchet & Clank is 100% play. Almost, I would say a 100% buy. It's really? $40. It's cheap.
Nice.
It's incredible. It gets you. It's a very good game to get reacclimated with the series, or for new people just to play the series in general. It's hilarious. It has incredible graphics. Ratchet and Clank just look both incredible.
Yeah.
The gameplay is phenomenal. So that's what I've been doing. I actually played. I caved and played Call of Duty today, yesterday, and the day before.
Yeah.
And it only took me 3 days to rage quit, which is pretty good.
That's impressive.
Essentially, I was making our YouTube video. There's a channel intro video to our channel, and on that, there's 2 Call of Duty clips. One is just me wrecking people. One is where I got a nuclear medal. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I really like this. It kind of reignited a fire in me. I'm like, oh, I want to play some more Call of Duty. So I played some Call of Duty. The first night had an incredible time.
Yeah.
The second night had an incredible time. I actually had to cut it short because I had to go to bed to go to work. Today I played, and I was like, this sucks. I'm like, I hate these people. Like, it wasn't necessarily the people I was playing against. It was more my play style. Like, it had changed in the third day based on the first 2 days. I was being more aggressive when I didn't need to be. So I was dying more and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I got my Call of Duty fix out of the way, which is nice.
That's good.
It's fun. I'm still holding you to our Return to Destiny video.
Yeah, that'll happen.
It'll happen sometime when you're not out of state.
When I'm not busy. Man, I've got a crazy week this week. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Either way, I've been playing... This is crazy. I mean, I think I've talked about this before. I actually posted on our website a review of this game today. Clash Royale, mobile game. It's so much fun.
In your review, do you account for battery consumption?
I have not. I actually did not. I accounted for the fact that it's free to play.
Okay.
And to an extent, pay to win. At least to progress quickly and to actually, if you want to be like competitive, because I know people actually stream this on Twitch. They stream themselves playing this.
People stream anything on Twitch.
It's crazy. For a mobile game. I mean,
I could probably find a Game Boy Color game on Twitch right now.
Seriously?
I'm not going to.
Okay.
But I could.
Either way, Clash Royale, it's my favorite mobile game right now. I keep playing like crazy. All my students talk about it. They all want to like challenge me. They want to do like a friendly battle.
Do you do that?
I always say no because
do you only own them at Smash in your Smash.
Dude, I destroy them I destroy most of them. In Smash. There's a few of them
that you just barely beat.
That I just barely beat.
But you're still number 1.
Of course.
Undefeated.
Yeah,
that's how it should be.
I mean, I may have been defeated once. Used one hand. You know. That sort of deal.
You used one hand and wrote a detention with the other.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're the teacher, after all.
And I had to explain the concept of diminishing marginal returns at the same time, which was pretty difficult to do.
That's actually a good Smash lesson. Because there's a stale move effect in Smash where if you use the same move over and over again, you don't get as much damage out of it, you don't get as much knockback. So you have a diminishing return.
There it is.
And then also... I guess it would be inverse with the percentage because the more percentage you get, the more knockback you have. But
yeah, interesting. Econ
Smash.
If
you need help,
it's the same thing. There it is. Yeah. So Clash Royale has been a lot of fun. I am ready. Like I just really want to have like 2 days of nothing. So I don't have like I've had days off, but I've had errands like crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like my truck broke, all that stuff.
You got a motorcycle.
I did buy a motorcycle, so that's true. I rode it here today. It was super fun.
Good.
Except for it was a little windy when we got on the highway, so I got off the highway. So I was like, I'm not ready for this.
I'm still a noob.
Dude, I got up to 60 and I was like getting blown everywhere, and there's semi
by the wind,
and there's like all these different cars, and I was like, I don't want to even try to merge right now, so I just took that exit because it didn't have like an ending to the on ramp. It just went straight into the exit of the next one. So
nice.
I was like, you know what, this is a good time to just
take a break.
Just put a little big toe in the water there, just splash around.
The little ESPN method.
Yeah, it's the ESPN method, the Disney method, if you will. So man, I'm ready to beat Uncharted. I love that game. Except for I got stuck. I hate it when I get stuck.
Yeah, that's hard.
That's
why you stopped for like 3 weeks.
I know, I did stop.
But you beat that level.
I finally got past it. I had like an evening. I didn't have any plans, so I was like, I'm going to play it. So I pulled it out and played it a little bit. Fallout 4 came out with another DLC.
Not Automation?
It's the second one, past Automation. It is a workshop DLC, and what it does is it adds an arena to your community.
Oh, I saw that.
Where you can like capture animals and have them fight. Or people, or creature, like monsters, or anything. So it's like a Coliseum.
There was a Coliseum in Fallout 4 in one of the big cities, I think, because I went there and there's a companion there you can have fight with you. I don't remember what it was called. I was hoping maybe you did. You go in and it's essentially like a boxing arena, but it used to be like a theater. And then there's a whole bunch of raiders making these two people fight. And then you talk to them and they're like, yeah, we're fighting, but we're kind of conning these raiders because he makes it look like he punches really hard, but really he doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you don't
remember. It's like pulling punches.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Do you remember what time that was?
What time?
What town?
No.
Okay.
It was a theater. It was just a place where you can get one companion.
Interesting.
There's a companion there. I don't remember who it is. It was a woman, I think.
Huh. She's probably deadly.
I assume so.
I mean, she's at an arena.
That's right.
Yeah, so Fallout 4, I mean, I'm looking forward to that, getting around to that eventually, but I've got to beat Uncharted. Like, that's like burden number one, and then I got to finish Automation, which I never did finish.
Uncharted 4 is coming out in like 2 weeks.
I know.
So you need to beat it.
And
then also Civil War.
I also need to
post that blog post before Civil War comes out.
Dude, I want my other writers to post, because not just you. I've had other promises.
Oh, no. Promise is broken.
They've been telling me, So I'm trying to get that blog up and going, but I worked a little. I actually posted 2 things. Posted one of our old episodes and
nice
that review today. I'm almost done with the Uncharted review, but I don't feel like I can publish it till I finish Uncharted 3.
That makes sense.
Because it's over the Uncharted collection. That's what I called it. So I'm excited to finish my thoughts on that.
How much longer do you think you have until you beat Uncharted 4? Uncharted 3? Like, when can you sit down and beat it?
I would say it probably... Well, I mean, I'm not going to get back till Sunday from New York. So...
You'll need some time. You'll need to play some video games.
Me time.
Although you'll be playing that mobile game all the time in New York, I assume.
Yeah. And reading a book. I'm reading Darth Plagueis, a Star Wars book. Learn about him, which is one of the theories. I'm almost done with it.
Theories of who?
Theories of...
Ray's parents?
Snoke. Grand Master... No. Supreme Leader Snoke. Some people think he's Darth Plagueis.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm reading the book about Darth Plagueis, which is actually Star Wars Legends. It's
because Emperor Palpatine said that he killed Darth Plagueis?
Yeah.
Or said that he was dead.
And
but Snoke and Plagueis are rumored to have bested death.
True.
Or something like that.
I mean, Plagueis, his whole, like, even from the beginning of the book, his idea is he wants to live forever. Like, he wants to find a way to do that. And he's, like, trying to manipulate the Force and all this stuff. There's also the grand plan, which is what Palpatine fulfills, which Plagueis also helps set up.
I read this funny thing that has to do with Harry Potter.
Tell me about it.
It said the average life expectancy of a male in the UK is like 78 years old.
Yeah.
And Voldemort died at 71.
Mm-hmm.
And they argued that if Voldemort just didn't seek everlasting life, he would have lived longer.
Really?
Yeah. Because essentially...
Because it's the average age?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a little fun thing I read.
That is pretty fun.
That's all I have today. Is that all you have today?
Unless you have any specific questions.
No, I've asked you all my questions.
Have you answered all my questions?
You didn't ask me any.
Oh, do you want a question?
What's up?
If you could compare your life...
I think I asked you questions last episode you never answered.
Probably.
Someone needs to make a list of all the questions I ask you. That you just
have
never
a lot.
answered. We make a whole episode out of it.
If you could compare your life to a body of water, which body of water would you compare it to, and why?
What?
I know it's hard. I've got an answer already.
Guantanamo Bay.
The Bay?
The Guantanamo Bay.
Why the Guantanamo Bay?
Because it's awesome.
Because there's a prison there?
There used to be.
There still is.
What's your answer?
The Pacific Ocean. Because my life is large and salty.
Anyway.
Yeah.
If you want to tweet at us,
that's really weird.
Tweet at us at UP Gamers Podcast. You can email us at underpaidgamerspodcast@gmail.com. We'd love for you to rate and review us on iTunes. It really helps us. Like and share us if you would with your friends, with your enemies, with your girlfriend, with your grandmother.
Yep. She would love it.
She would. We'd love to build that community. As we mentioned before, we have a YouTube channel now.
Yeah, check out our YouTube channel.
Underpaid Gamers Podcast YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. We have underpaidgamers.wordpress.com.
Yes.
Or something like that.
That is it.
Twitter again, Underpaid Gamers. SoundCloud, Underpaid Gamers. Yep. iTunes, Underpaid Gamers.
You know, if you just Google our name, we're like the top couple links, I believe.
I did that. We're the whole first page.
That's awesome.
I went to the second page.
Success.
I went to the second page, and that's when there's some discrepancies. But whoever goes to the second page of Google results.
Nobody does.
Literally no one.
You go to the first two links.
Yeah.
If you can't find in the first two links,
the first one's
you
always
didn't Google search correctly.
The first one's like an ad, so you kind of have to like...
No, if
it's an ad, you skip the ad.
You skip the ads.
But that's it. That's it. That's us.
It. That's all we got.
Talk to us.
Thanks, guys.
Watch our stuff. Listen to our stuff. Read our stuff. We have a lot of stuff going on.
Yep. See you guys next time.
On the flip side.